an inmate at the Douglas County Jail. To accept this call, press 0. To refuse this call, hang up or press 1. To prevent calls from this facility, press 9. Hello. This call is from a corrections facility and is subject to monitoring, recording, and the location of your phone will be obtained. For more information about our privacy policy, please visit www.connectnetwork.com. After the beep, press 5 to accept this call. This call is from a corrections facility and is subject to monitoring, recording, and the location of your phone will be obtained. Stay on the line to accept this call. Thank you for using GTL.
I don't consent to recording of this call. Anything that I need to know?
Yeah, Mike, I've got a friend over, just FYI, so just keep that in mind. And I did get a text from Brad. You know who Brad is, right?
Yep.
Okay, here's what he said. He sent me some sort of picture of a piece of paper, and I don't know what it means exactly, but underneath he wrote, reaching out to Edward Zendejas in Uno, professor and tribal judge, to aid with getting Mike's UN ambassador status acknowledged, as well as Elizabeth Grossman, assistant vice chancellor of UNL, and worked for Lincoln Penitentiary System. So he's trying to do something, and the piece of paper that he took a picture of, it says 2 cases, reverse case, Clark versus Montana and Sereno versus California. There's a lot of writing that I cannot read, but anyway, he's doing something.
Okay, if anyone can look up Clark versus Montana and Sereno, Sorreno versus California, if those are something that they can send me the short versions of those, I would appreciate it if they can. Otherwise, I'll try to look them up here, but it's you get 3 hours a week total, and getting on these computers are slow, and tracking this stuff down is like pulling teeth. Also, there's something called a Blue Book, which is a listing of all government employees, including judges. If someone has the Blue Book that lists all the federal judges, it might be that I need to try to reach out to some of these other federal judges to get them to take a look at this Judge Gerard. This Judge Gerard has unclean hands. He's dirty.
Yeah.
He was appointed by Clinton, but regardless, he is colluded with the U.S. Attorney and Don Shinzy. Don Shinzy sandbagged. He did not put forth my proof, and I'm making a copy and going to send you a copy of the jury instructions where he tells the jury they cannot consider me to be an ambassador of another country, that he's already decided that. He's taken away their rights to determine that as a fact. All right. He also took away their right to determine as a fact that I was exonerated. He took away their right to determine as a fact that the Chilcoot Nations Court exists and that it is valid. Everything that basically recognized my immunity, he told the jury they don't have the right to determine those facts, which is what they're supposed to do, is determine the facts.
Right.
Not him. He literally set the jury in place, and this is what I argued right off the bat, is that you've already preset these people in certain chairs, so no matter what, there's only so many people, 30-some-odd people, but there's 28 people no matter what. If I've got, just 8 peremptory challenges and the other side's got a certain number, you do the math, the first 28 people will make up the jury no matter what. You've already set those people in place. Well, he says, well, these people were seated randomly. I said, who randomly selected them? Somebody selected them, and guess what? That somebody works for the United States government, not me.
Yeah. I got you. Hey, I'm interested in your take, but there's a lot of spirited discussion going on out here between me and a group of friends, and I'll just share with you just as a plant a seed of thought, but there's these people out here that are writing books on how to challenge the IRS, how to challenge the Department of Justice, specifically Pete Hendrickson. I don't got anything against him. His wife spent a great deal of time in prison. I felt very bad about that. We advocated for her freedom. But he wrote a book called Cracking the Code. You've got people like Anna Von Reitz, who's writing just a ton of information on about the de jure government, the de facto government, and how to beat the system. And I'm just not one of these guys that wants to be a lawyer. I have no desire to learn any of this crap, and they're all saying you got to learn to be a lawyer. I mean, for you, Mike, you're stuck in a hellhole, right? So you've got to, you're forced to learn this stuff, because I guess it's the only way that you have to fight for your freedom at this point in time. But it's just a big mess, and I'm concerned that people are trying to profit. And my whole website, Mike, is full of people that I consider geniuses, yourself included. I got Eddie Ray Kahn, Ed Brown. I got David Hinkson. I got Russell Landers with the Montana Freeman. They all had incredible knowledge of IRS law and statute law and pre-Civil War law, and yet it didn't do them any good when they went to these courtrooms. And so, my thinking is, you bring Satan a piece of paper and you say, I've got a piece of paper that proves you're a liar. He's going to laugh at you. And I don't know that I have the answer, but I just know I ain't going to prison. And I think that, when the time comes, if they come for me, it's like, let the Lord sort it out. But I'm not going to become a lawyer, and I'm not going to prison. And I think we got this faction trying to, I'm not saying their heart's in the wrong place. I think their heart's in the right place, but I just don't see any fruit coming from learning all this crap about legal crap. But that's just my opinion, and I could be wrong, So,
well, it could be that everybody's right. We're coming at it from different angles. So some people are looking at it from the legal sense. Some people looking at it from a historical sense. Some people looking at it from just a gut feeling that what's happening is wrong. From your gut feeling, you know that we had a revolutionary. Well, we didn't. But those people before us had a revolutionary war. My ancestors, Native Americans, weren't involved in it necessarily. But
you have 60 seconds remaining.
The Europeans viewed themselves as subject too. My ancestors never had a king, and the Europeans liked what my ancestors did, so they started doing the same thing. I think we can do that again, but you got to get everybody on board with the same mindset, because the evil man's right to do evil can trump my free will to do good. Now, I sent a letter to Tammy and Mrs. B, Tammy at the post office, and others. I have not got a response back. If you can reach out to Miss B and Tammy to see if they got my letter and if they're able to reply back to me, I need to see if they were able to make any of those verifications on checking with people to see if they got the information I mailed. Because I mailed out a whole lot of information to people, and I've gotten no response, so I don't even know if my letter's going out of the building.
Okay, I hope they hear this, and I hope they respond if they hear this, Mike. And a lot of people are scared to death. That's the problem.
Yeah,
Thank you for using GTL.